What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Onyxcoin today, XCN, USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 27th day of April, and here we are sitting at about $0.0065 with roughly 11 hours, 21 minutes left in the day. We've seen a miraculous pump occur so far from a low point to a high point, roughly speaking. We're up about 84%. We're not up 84%. We've seen an 84% pump on the day. As of now, we've wicked back down. We're up about 40% on the day. And yeah, things are good, man. Things are looking good. We're getting the result that we were hoping for down in this area, right? And again, I invite you guys to change your perspective a little bit. Look at this from an inverted process instead of the actual process. Tell me if, and especially after this move, if this chart looks bullish or bearish to you. If in the future, if you're picking up on the details here that you've got a lower kind of high and you've got here resistance at prior support and now you're breaking down and volume's coming in, right? The most volume that you've seen in like a few months to back this move up. If you're picking up on the idea that inevitably you'll see lower lows, well, guess what? If we take the way this inverted scale, yeah, you're right. We are. We're going to go up higher. It is going to happen. I've had a lot of people call me specifically with this one coin, but even with various other coins as well. Not this coin, but different coins. They've called me a hater. They've said, "Oh, but you're bullish on XCN, but you're not bullish on this coin." The reason why I'm not bullish on most cryptos in the crypto market, you guys, if we look at the others chart, the others chart encapsulates what the average coin has done. I've been in crypto since 2015. This is my fourth bear market that I've been a part of, and whenever we are in a bear market for Bitcoin, the coins that typically pump, typically, this is not always, but typically, the coins that typically pump are the traps, okay? Here's why Onyxcoin is different. We're going to go over it. If this thing would just load. Here's why. Okay, here's why it's different. Because for most altcoins, their bear market didn't start until September, until about this time. By that point, Onyxcoin had already been in a bear market for 9 months. Onyxcoin, most cryptos from their top to bottom, I want to say they're down like 50 or 60% from their highs in September to where they are now. They're down like 50 or 60%, something like that. Onyxcoin, and again, that's just since September. It's April now, so October, November, December. That's 7 months. It's been 7 months that the average crypto's been in a bear market. Onyxcoin was in a 91% drawback, over 90%. It's seen a year of selling off because this was January to January, okay? Basically a whole year. And on top of that, we've seen within this process since November a sideways consolidation phase, accumulation phase, where volume has just depleted entirely. If this was Bitcoin, if Bitcoin dumped, if it was in a bear market for this long, regardless of the percentage, it probably wouldn't be a 90% drop, right? But if it dropped over a year and then it moved sideways for 6 months, this pump would be celebrated because it's the initiation of the bull market. I mean, how many people on X have been arguing about what the initial phase of the bull market will look like? They all say the same thing, right? We get a dump, we dump over time, and then typically after we're at the low point of the bear market, we move sideways for a while. I think a lot of people are aware of that kind of dynamic, and maybe it'll switch up on this cycle, but the whole point being is we've moved sideways. We've moved sideways for a very long time. And it doesn't take much volume at all to send the price up higher. It doesn't take much volume at all. The reason why it doesn't take much volume at all is because in moments like this, whenever you're moving sideways after a long process of depression, okay, after everybody's sold and they've had their fill with the pain, they're like, I'm out, screw it. Should have sold the top, shouldn't have bought the top, whoever you are. You know, we bought back here way long ago, and we've been holding ever since. And adding to Onyxcoin on that note, the reason why I'm bullish is not because it's the coin that I hold the most of. That's not why I'm bullish. I'm holding the most of this coin because I'm bullish. It's not the other way around, right? We've dropped 91%. We've moved sideways for a long time, and we were in a point here where where we could have broken out to the downside, we could have broken out to the upside, and if we broke out to the downside, it would be a voluptuous move down. Same thing to the upside. Obviously, we're here now. And the reason why I had such a hard time thinking that we'd move down is I continuously said over the months, over the last like 6 months, half a year now, continuously said, who's left to sell? Who's left to sell in these areas that hasn't sold already? Who's left to sell? The only people left are the people who've been buying this whole time, are the people who bought and held down here, or maybe they bought the tops at top areas, or they bought on the way down, they DCA down. The only people who are interested in this thing after a 91% drop over a year-long process and 6 months of just sideways moving, nobody is around to sell. They've all sold out. They've given up. The people who would give up, the paper hands, or even the moderately strong hands, but just not the diamond hands, they've all left. They've all left. And because we're in this low volume, low liquid environment in the boring times, it doesn't take much volume at all to see the price pump. It doesn't take much volume at all, my friends. And we can see that we can literally, I said the same thing back here. It doesn't take much volume at all to pump the price. This is just the beginning, I think. I really do. We'll see. The difference between this time, we'll get into it. I want to complete this thought real quick. This volume here compared to this volume, but these moves were basically the exact same, right? This one was a little bit larger, but the volume is completely different. Look at the size difference in the volume. Look at how much larger that is over here versus it was over here. Both of them ended up selling off, but the point being it took less volume to make a similar move because we're in this low liquid environment, okay? The reason why I think this time might be different, and we'll see if it is. So far, we got a pretty big wick to the upside, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Still a lot of time left in the day too. We could definitely come back down. We could pump up still, And if we come back down and we're back where we were before, it's oh my goodness, I'll be tired of it, man. I won't be selling Onyxcoin though. I've said it plenty of times. Like if we go down, I'm not selling. I'm just buying more and staking more. That's all I'll be doing. Shout out to everybody who's been staking too. If you've been staking, imagine that you bought any amount here and you've been staking for about half a year. You've gotten a 15% bump on your holdings just from staking. Like just from that, about a 15% bump, if not something over 10% for sure. Which means you're even more in the profits today than somebody who bought within the last week. But the reason why this is different is because of the formation. Okay, it's because of the formation. We have what is known as, a double bottom. This is a double bottom. And it's not the prettiest looking thing. It's not one of these one touch point here, one touch point there double bottoms. It's not like that. But it's an accumulative phase with higher lows and declining volume. And the only time the volume comes in is whenever there's upward movement. And that's because, again, there's no sellers left, you guys. There's only buyers left. The only people left to participate. If you've sold all your coins, you can't dump the price more. And then some people might say, well, what about the staking rewards? There's people saying, yeah, there's probably selling pressure from that, but minimal. Most people, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not selling my staking rewards every time they come out. I'm compounding them. That's what I'm doing. And I'm sure there are people who do sell. Maybe they've got 100 million tokens and they're making, I don't know, however many thousands of dollars a month that would be, and they're using that to keep the lights on. Maybe, I don't know. And I'm sure the team, the people who hold the most tokens, they're probably the largest sellers from the staking protocol. I'm sure it is that way. But even still, if that's the case, like, why aren't we moving down? It's because there's no sellers left, guys. All the panic sellers, they're gone. They're gone. And this is my largest holding in my crypto portfolio at the moment. And even though we've known what Onyxcoin is, what it can do, we've sifted through all the BS, people saying that it's a scam or just throwing blind hate at this thing for no reason. Even though we've prepared properly, I still can't help but feel like, damn it, I should have bought more. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is in this game too, you guys. You will even if you do everything right, and you get the result you're looking for, when you're up here, you're going to be like, man, why didn't I sell my car? Why didn't I just walk to work for a month? Why didn't I sell my Pokemon card collection? I could have put more money in here and I didn't do it. You're going to do everything right and still get greedy. Don't get too greedy. I don't know at this point in time. I'm talking so much. I'm doing kind of a victory lap. I'll chill out, okay? I'm not going to make a video saying F the haters or haha, any of that stuff. It's not my style. they, you know, they're here the loudest when we're at the low points. They're here the loudest here, and they're just dead silent anytime we see this, or they say we got lucky, you know, whatever. Okay, we got lucky. However it is, let's get into the TA. Let's quit screwing around. Let's look at the short-term stuff. There's a lot to talk about. Yes, yes, yes. I'm fully aware that they got listed on Upbit. To me, as far as I know, exchange listings should not cause pumps. It's just not. It's not how it works. Typically, it causes dumps instead. But hey, Onyxcoin being decentralized to a certain degree, I don't know how it all works. If they get listed on an exchange, is the team, because there is a centralized force behind Onyxcoin, are they allocating tokens to the exchange, or does the exchange itself have to buy Onyxcoin to list? Because if that's the case, then sure, this might be bullish because Upbit may have been accumulating Onyxcoin this whole time strategically. I don't know. And then this is just like a major news announcement. I don't know. But again, I think this time is a little bit different, right? We had a not a sell the news event, but a pump the news event. Normally, when this kind of news comes out, you're at the top already, and then you dump down. So anybody who's thinking, well, it got listed, it's going to be a sell the news event, that's not how it works. Typically, you know, you see the price move up, you're like, wow, why is the price going up? That's awesome. And then at the tip top, you hear Upbit listed you, which isn't really that big of a deal, right? Binance listed you, whatever. President Trump says Onyxcoin is the future, and then you dump. That's what happens. You get the good news at the top. You don't get the good news at the bottom, and then you pump up. That's not what happens. Though I'm sure most people aren't really aware of the news until it's at this price anyways, but I digress. Let's get back to the 1 hour time frame. You can look here. We can play the whole game if you want to. Yeah, this looks like a bull flag, whatever. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's completely possible. We know how this works. It's completely possible that we could just whittle our way back down. I am optimistic. I do believe Onyxcoin is higher to go. We're going to get into that in just a second. Don't worry. From a 1 hour perspective, looking at the RSI, you've gotten overbought. You've gotten deep into the overbought zone. You guys like very, very close to 100. Very, very bullish looking 1 hour RSI. And here we are at the overbought zone where you might expect a bounce. If not here, then we could bounce at the 60. If not there, we could bounce at the 50. If we don't hold the 50, then we will talk about tears and sadness because that might imply lower price action. Okay. And again, low volume, low liquid environments. The fact that we've moved down this much from the high as well, we pumped so much and then moved back down, that's not discouraging to me. We're in a low liquid environment. It doesn't take a lot of volume to push the price up. It really doesn't take a lot of volume to push the price down either, okay? We've seen an 82% pump and a 27% dump in the last like 8 hour period, all at the same time. And it's because it's a low volume environment. This is a lot of volume, but really even this is not a lot of volume, right? We look at this on a daily time frame. It's the most volume we've seen in a couple months, but really it's not a lot of volume at all. And also for anybody who's referencing any of my other videos where there are breakouts happening in various cryptos, but I'm judging their volume, the thing is, guys, this is not breaking out. We're not in official breakout territory yet. I mean, yes, you're breaking out of this, and relative to this, look at the volume. This volume is completely appropriate. It's completely appropriate to back up this move. Okay, a lot of people don't understand how to read volume properly. I didn't for a long time whenever I started doing technical analysis, but I'm hoping explanations like this will help you. Now, this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. When we break out, the breakout point is technically the nipple here. So when we get above there, that's when we want to see volume that is at a higher level than these levels here, or at least something comparable, right? But more sustained as well. That's what we want to see. That's when the volume matters. Right now, it doesn't really matter too much. But again, in the essence of this, yes, we are breaking out. In the essence of this, no, we're not breaking out. So we don't need volume that is increasing in reference to this. But in reference to this, since we are breaking out, yes, we need it, and yes, we got it. You know, I hope that's obvious if anybody's judging the volume there improperly. 1 hour time frame. The stochastics are weird, dude. Just so weird. They're so weird, but that's because you moved sideways for so long. I mean, you didn't even get overbought on this move. 54% pump in 1 hour didn't do it for you. The MACD is obviously bullish, but that's not going to help us. 4 hour time frame here. MACD, you know, it's very, very unreliable because of how choppy and sideways we've been for so long. But you slowly were showing your hand to the bullish effect here. Bounced off the zero, and well, now we're touching the sky. Stochastics bounced off the oversold zone. Again, I don't know what's going on with the stochastics here. Maybe it's it just hasn't had time to catch up yet. I don't know, man. Is the indicator broken? Technically, they look bullish for what it's worth. And the RSI, you guys know how I feel about the readings. Anytime we get above a 90, first off, yeah, we're in a hot zone. Okay, but secondly, typically you don't see this and then you dump down. That's not typical. It can happen, but it's not typical. And we've seen it happen before. It can happen, not just with Onyxcoin, but with other coins. It can happen. But what's typical is when you get this deep in the overbought zone, you get further readings. You kind of meander up here. You live in here, right? It's the same thing to the downside. You got below the 20. I mean, I guess here this was just one attempt, to be completely fair. But here you got below the 20 and you had multiple readings down below. Here you got below the 20. It was just one attempt. That's not a good example. But also we were kind of in odd times where we were just moving sideways. That might not be a good example. Let's see if we can find one on the upside. Here it is just one giant peak up, but it's different than something like this. This is more methodical. It's different. I hope you can see the difference between that and then this here, right? This is different, and I would expect that we see more life in this thing. But nonetheless, something like that could happen. Something like this, continuous readings, multiple readings here before we get oversold. That's kind of what we're looking for. Here, multiple readings like this. You had multiple here. You had multiple readings before you got oversold, right? You're showing like some bullish stuff there. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. If not, whatever. We're going to move on. Stochastics look good. RSI is clearly bullish. I mean, it's not going to really give us too much at this point. The daily time frame here, we look at this. We're getting overbought. We are approaching the 90 on the daily as well. And again, typically you don't see this kind of stuff. You don't see this kind of stuff. But when you're in a bear market, whenever you're at the end of a 91% drop that took you over a year, your bullish presumptions aren't going to work as well as the bearish effect might. The stochastics here are bouncing off the oversold zone, looking bullish as well. The MACD, I mean, the MACD has been feeding up to the zero, guys. It's been feeding up to it here, and you're about to cross. You are about to cross. I'm really curious to see what comes next. This really could be the beginning of more to come. And whenever I say more to come, I'm not just talking about back up to this high. I'm not just talking about back up to this high over here. I'm talking about through this high. Right now, guys, we are completely in double bottom territory. We're completely in this phase where this could be like an Adam and Eve, and it's not pretty. It's definitely not pretty, but it's a W pattern nonetheless. And if you get above this level here, the expectation then is that we see this kind of measure move from a low to a high. You put this there, and then you take it to the top. That's your measure move. That takes you all the way up to 4 cents. Okay, we're in a bear market with Bitcoin. Onyxcoin is not the guru of the crypto space. If Bitcoin's dumping, Onyxcoin's performance is going to get hurt. If we don't go up here, first off, if we do go up here, it's a measure move. It's an idea. It doesn't have to happen exactly like this. This is just the idea. You could stop a little bit higher. You could stop a little bit lower. You might hit the mark precisely. Okay. But again, considering we're in a bear market with Bitcoin, considering maybe the price action of Bitcoin could hurt the performance of this, should we move above this high, I think it's more than reasonable to expect that we do find resistance at prior levels of resistance here, prior levels of resistance here as well. And we kind of even found a little bit of support here at this shelf before breaking down, finding resistance, and then moving down. So we've shown a lot of significance here, right at this level, more or less, which is about 2 cents. Just above 2 cents, just below 2 cents, whatever. Something 2.2 cents technically, right? And then we delete all this stuff here. We delete it all, get rid of the noise, take the, not the all-time high, but the high that we had back in 2025 in January, put it at the low here. Your golden ratio is right there at 1.9 to 2.2 cents. That's your golden ratio intersecting directly with these prior points of resistance. And it is completely possible that we do go up to the 786, 886 area. To me, the measure move that would take us to like 3.9 cents, it's possible. It certainly is possible. And it can happen. I'm not holding out for that. I guess I will be holding out. I'm not planning on selling until this thing's worth more than $1 anyways. And I do believe Onyxcoin will be worth more than $1. Probably not by the end of this year. Probably not by the end of 2027, but 2028 maybe. We'll see. If it takes more time, whatever, we've got more time to stake and accumulate. But we still have a lot of proving to do. Right now it's completely possible that this is just a little pump and dump. This is just a little excitement wick. We've been boring for quite some time, so here we have a reason to pump, whatever. We didn't pump this hard with the Goliath mainnet launch, but there were a lot of bugs. They've been fixing things. They're getting the wallet rocking and rolling. Things are going good as far as the development goes with Onyxcoin. But we're also seeing real-world implementations taking place, and it'll be interesting to see what comes next. Weekly time frame. I kind of personally, I kind of am amazed that we're getting this kind of pump on an exchange listing announcement. I wonder if there's something else behind it. I wonder if there's something else behind it, and that's kind of what my gut tells me. Here again, from a low point to a high point, we found support right at the golden ratio zone. It's really not crazy to assume that we could come up and find resistance on this golden ratio zone, which is also at the 236, right there at 2 cents, psychological resistance, prior resistance here, prior resistance back here, even the land of the rising sun. We're gonna go right through that. Shout out to the OGs. Maybe not even OGs, right? You've probably been holding for less than a year if you know the land of the rising sun, but nonetheless, we will see those areas again. I do expect that if we can get above about 1.975 cents on a weekly closing basis, if we can close above here, then at that point it will be more than appropriate to consider targets that are around 10 cents to 22, 23 cents. And the one thing that I'm having an issue with here, like talking about these prices, is that Bitcoin is in a bear market. You know, we break out of this trend, it would be super easy to be like bullish as hell and just be thinking, oh, we're going to go to new highs. We're here we go. It's going to happen. I mean, it could happen. If it were to happen with any coin during this bear market, this one has a higher chance only because of how much of a downward move it had and for how long it had it and for how long we've accumulated it's and for all the hate that's been thrown at it. There's a lot of attention on this coin. A lot of people don't want to see it succeed for whatever reason. I think they got burned because they bought the top. But we're still in a bear market with Bitcoin. It's really hard for me to talk about prices like this. But if we were to go higher, if we were to go above this level here, 9.69 cents to 22.8 cents, that would be our first target area. And we know, or at least have more conviction that that's going to happen when we get above this golden ratio and when we get above this 236, which happens to be at the same area, which would be, you know, right around 2 cents. If we can get multiple weekly closes above there, not just wicks above there, but closes. See how we didn't close above, we just wicked above. If we can get multiple weeks to close above here in a row, that's very incriminating that we could see higher prices take place. We'll see. You know, Onyxcoin from this same level back here in January of 2025, it was 1 week later and we were all the way up at 5 cents. We had a 7x 1 week later, you know, at these from these exact same levels. So it can definitely happen again. It's not that it can't happen, but I'm not forecasting that right now. My expectation is that we'll go somewhere around here. Maybe it takes a week or two. Maybe we dilly-dally and we just kind of slowly form structure. We have some pumps, whatever, and it's later this year that we're up here. Onyxcoin likes to move it at a very fast pace whenever it does move, though. So, I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me. Even if by the end of the month, it's the 27th now, even in the next 3 days, if we were up here, like this thing can move really fast if it wants to. But we'll see. I would expect it would probably take more time than that, but you never know. And if over the next few days, if over the next few weeks, we haven't really gone anywhere and we're kind of just working our way back down, well, we're back to where we've been. We're back to where we've been. Who's left to sell? Maybe we have more sellers because people panic bought up here, so that might be the kick in the pants we need to see slightly lower lows. But things are different now. We'll see. We will see. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I don't think I have anything else to say. Weekly RSI is taking a bullish shape a little bit, but it's still very neutral, and that's fair because the price action is neutral. Stochastics are taking on a bullish shape, that's for sure. How are the weekly stochastics reacting much more than the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour stochastics? I don't get it. The MACD, it's bearish overall still, but the bullish part would be if we can get above this zero. And again, that might happen more like over the coming months rather than rather than immediate. But anything, you know, this thing can move up if it wants to. That's for sure. Time will tell. I got nothing else. Support at prior resistance. Golden ratio support from this low to this high here of this move, this 20x move that we had in like 2 weeks, this 40x move overall. Golden ratio support right there. And capitulation with low volume here, double bottom territory. I don't know what more you want. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully this time is different. Hopefully this one works out. If not, we're in it for the long run anyways. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.